The leaders of the Nigeria's Labour Congress have suspended the proposed protest against the 50% increase in Telecoms tariff slated for Tuesday, January 4. NLC took the decision following a meeting with a delegation of federal government under the chairmanship of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Upah, at the SGF's office. According to the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Malagi, and the NLC President, Joe Ajero, a 10-man committee composed of delegations from the federal government and Labour had been set up to examine the tariff structure. The committee is expected to meet for the next 2 weeks and come out with a mutually beneficial resolution.
The matter is that there is already a study that was conducted by the NCC that led them to arrive at this 50% increase. Now, we are discussing this with Labour. Labour has agreed that they will look at that study, and then a small committee has been set up to look at that study once again and come up with a final resolution for the consideration of government and Labour in about 2 weeks' time. So what the summary of it is that Labour and the Nigerian Labour Congress specifically and the delegation of the federal government have set up a committee of 5 each. We're going to meet here continuously for the next 2 weeks, and at the end of the second week, we will now come up with a recommendation.
That will determine the next line of action and the process of engagement. The symbolic action of submitting the letters tomorrow will be put on hold until the outcome of such committee. The outcome of such committee is what will determine our next line of action in terms of protest, in terms of boycott, in terms of even withdrawal of services, which are the 3 issues we put online. But I will equally use this opportunity of this meeting to put in our displeasure on the electricity tariff and the tax that is killing the workers now.
Real quickly, Mr. Benson, Upah, good to have you. Why is the NLC now seen as the nearly people? They rally the people for a strike, they go have a meeting, call off the strike a day before. Is this not whittling down the integrity of the NLC? That's what a lot of people feel.
Well, well, there is a temptation to say that whittles down our influence. But I want to tell you this: we have an objective, and that objective is to ensure that tariffs are down, or that the proposed 50% tariff hike does not materialize. We believe in dialogue, and once government has accepted to negotiate, we do not see any value in doing the street show, okay? I do not see anything wrong with that. If there is anything wrong with that, perhaps, maybe it is government that always manages to come at the 11th hour for negotiations, okay? But we cannot run away from dialogue. Even brutal wars are settled at the negotiating table. So why would we run away from that?
All right.
We're open to dialogue, meaningful dialogue.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you say in the post-committee or post-meeting report, Comrade Joe Ajero had said that the outcome of the committee's work will determine your next line of action. What kind of outcome are you looking forward to at the end of 2 weeks? And then have you evaluated the impact on the workers in the telecommunications sector in the event that this increase does not happen? And as the telecommunications industry has said, they're losing a lot of money in terms of posting losses as a result of this. Are you aware that this could negatively impact the workers in this industry?
Well, thank you very much, my sister. You see, we have always held this position that this is a case of corporate greed, aided and abetted by a complicit regulator. At the telecom industry, people have been making a kill I recall very well in the early 2000s when MTN and Econet, as they were then known, and later joined by Glo, came into being. Of course, we realized the fact that they paid a hefty sum as license fee, but they quickly made this money. They made profits. In fact, at the point, MTN was posting more profit than four top banks put together. So the telecom industry has been a very profitable one. So the question to ask is, what have they been doing with all of that money? Have they been salting it away to their foreign accounts, or have they in any way tried to invest some of that money in the country? And at that time, I want to tell you that the penetration certainly was not more than 15–20%. Today, look at it. It is estimated at 75%. And if we are to use, the logic of volume determining the cost of unit, we in Nigeria should be paying the least tariffs, okay? We are 200 million plus, and we keep these entities in business because by nature, we love talking. We are warm people, we are lively people. Start a radio program now. You have callers from everywhere, etc. So why wouldn't these telecoms be satisfied with the money that they are making? And then look at also the issue of costs. We have fixed costs. Some of those things that they are adding as operational costs should not come in. We have base stations already in place. In fact, we have a transition from diesel-operated base stations to solar-operated base stations. So what are they talking about? They should also look at the capacity of Nigerians to pay this. We are not talking about 0.5%. We're not talking about 1%. My sister, we're not talking about 5%. We're talking a whopping 50%. That is an overkill. At this point in time, let me just explain. We are not opposed to a tariff hike, but such a hike should be reasonable and payable. At 50%, we can't pay and won't pay.
Okay, Mr. Upah. I think the major problem that
yes,
the NLC faces is one of credibility. It's one of perception. Even before yesterday's meeting, Nigerians were already saying, oh, after a pattern, these labor leaders will just go there and the strike will not, the protest, the whatever, will not happen. And, just as the people expected, you had a meeting and then a committee is to be set up. Now, another curious thing, was there any member of the telecom sector at that meeting? Because there are bodies also, labor unions in that sector, who are saying that, well, they don't believe in the proposed protest and that they will not be party to it. Now, were they at that meeting yesterday, or it was just labor leaders, NLC, and federal government? And is there any plan to include them, some of them that have been complaining, like the Senior Staff Association of Telecom Companies, would they be included? Will NANS be part of this 2 weeks negotiation?
First, let me speak to the issue of credibility. I do think Mr. Rufai opened this a conversation with this punch, and I tried to explain this away that it is not in our character to want to spoil for a fight and suddenly fizzle out. What is playing out is government's last-minute intervention process, okay? And as I explained earlier, Dr. Bati, if we did say yesterday we were not going to attend that meeting, the responsibility in the minds or the psychology of Nigerians will be that labor refused to dialogue with government. and will now be portrayed as aggressors. So this matter of last-minute suspension is not in our character, but we have no choice but to keep dialoguing, okay? But I want to assure you that nothing has changed. If at the end of the day, this is a trick to postpone this protest, the protest will still take place, I assure you. Because it goes beyond Nigerian Labour Congress. This matter affects every one of us because we use telephones, and there's no way we can cope with this pommeling and buffeting of tariff hikes.
Okay.
You are here. You remember, you recall, my brother, at least you recall when the energy sector slapped us with 250%.
Mr. Upah,
okay,
Mr. Upah,
go ahead.
we have to go very quickly. Were Telecom stakeholders at that meeting yesterday?
Okay, thank you.
Or it was just NLC and government? That kind of thing. So they were not there. The major stakeholders are not there. Anyway, thank you very much.
I've answered your question, Dr. Bati. I've answered your question.
Anyway,
so
thank you very much.
I've answered your question. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you
you so much.